My name is Ethan Cole, and before Claire Bennett walked into my life, nothing about me was interesting. I worked at a logistics company downtown, tracking shipments for a paycheck that covered rent and not much else. I liked routine. I liked knowing what tomorrow looked like. That should have been my first warning that Claire wasn't going to fit into my life quietly. I met her at Sam's rooftop party in June. Sam Park has been my best friend since college, and he throws these parties every summer, mostly so he has an excuse to grill burgers for 40 people. I was standing near the drink table when she walked up and grabbed a soda. "You're the only person here not holding a beer," she said. "I'm driving later," I said. "Ethan." "Claire." She smiled like she already knew something I didn't. "So you're responsible. That's rare at these things." "Is that a compliment?" "Depends how the night goes." We talked for 2 hours straight. She asked real questions about my job, my family, why I still live 10 minutes from my mom. Nobody asked me things like that. Most people talked at me. Claire listened like my answers actually mattered. By the end of the night, I had her number and a feeling in my chest I hadn't felt in years. Sam found me in the kitchen while I was helping clean up. "You've been smiling for like an hour," he said. "It's creepy." "Her name's Claire." "Claire who?" "Bennett. We just talked." "Sam, relax." He leaned against the counter, arms crossed, giving me that look he gets when he's about to say something I won't like. "That girl in the green dress?" "Yeah. She's too polished, man. Be careful. Polished isn't a crime." "I'm serious. Girls like that don't usually notice guys like us unless there's a reason." I laughed it off. "Maybe the reason is she liked talking to me." "Maybe," he said, but he didn't sound like he believed it. I didn't think about his warning again for weeks, because Claire made sure I didn't have room to think about anything else. She texted first every morning. She remembered small things, that I hated cilantro, that my dad passed when I was 19, that I'd never been on a real vacation. 3 weeks in, we were already talking every night until one of us fell asleep on the phone. "You're not like the guys I usually date," she told me once, lying on my couch with her head on my lap. "Is that good or bad?" "Good," she said quickly. Too quickly, maybe, but I didn't catch it then. "You're real, Ethan. Everyone else is performing something." "I don't know how to perform," I said. "This is just me." "I know." She looked up at me, and for a second her smile faltered, like there was something behind it she wasn't saying. "That's what I like about you." I told Sam about that conversation, hoping it would change his mind. "She said I'm real," I said, like it meant something to her. "Everything sounds good in the beginning," Sam said. "I'm not saying she's lying. I'm saying be careful. You fall fast, man. You always have. This is different." "That's what you said about Rachel." "Claire's not Rachel." He held up his hands. "Fine. I hope I'm wrong." I hope so too. And for 2 months it felt like he was. Then one night in August, we were at my apartment, ordering takeout, and her phone buzzed on the coffee table. She glanced at it, just a glance, and her whole face changed. The color dropped out of it. Her hand shot out and flipped the phone face down so fast it nearly slid off the table. "Everything okay?" I asked. "Fine," she said. Too fast. Her smile snapping back into place like a mask clicking shut. "Just work stuff. Boring." "You sure? You looked like you saw a ghost." "I'm sure." She reached for the menu again like nothing happened. "What were we getting, Thai or Chinese?" I let it go. I told myself it was nothing. A bad email, a stressful client, something small. I wanted to believe that more than I wanted to ask a second question. I had no idea I was already losing. By September, Claire wasn't just my girlfriend. She was woven into every part of my life, and I let her in without hesitation. I introduced her to my sister Mia first, over brunch on a Sunday. "So you're the Claire I've heard about for 2 months straight," Mia said, shaking her hand. "All good things, I hope," Claire said, smiling that smile that made people relax instantly. "Mostly," Mia said, glancing at me. "He's annoying about it, honestly. Won't stop talking." After Claire left the table to take a call, Mia leaned in close. "I like her," she said, "but something's weird." "Weird how?" I asked about her exes. She just laughed it off. Changed the subject. Maybe she doesn't like talking about the past. Maybe, Mia said. Just pay attention. Okay? I nodded, but I didn't really hear her. I was too busy watching Claire laugh at something on her phone across the room, thinking about how lucky I was. A few weeks later, I brought her to meet my mom. Grace Cole doesn't warm up to people fast. She spent years watching people come and go from my life, but Claire had her laughing within 20 minutes. She helped me set my new phone up. My mom told me later, practically glowing. She didn't even make me feel stupid for asking twice. She's good with people, I said. She's good with you, my mom said. I haven't seen you like this since before your father. That night, lying in bed with Claire's head on my chest, I said the thing I'd been thinking for weeks. What if we got a place together? She went still for a second. Together? Like moving in? Yeah, I know it's fast, but nothing about this feels fast to me. It feels like the first thing in my life that's actually right. I want that, she said quietly. I do. Just give me a little time to figure some things out first. What things? Just life stuff. Work. Family stuff. She kissed my shoulder, cutting the question short. I want to meet your family more first. Properly. Is that okay? Of course it's okay. I didn't push. I never pushed with Claire. Looking back, that was the problem. I mistook her deflections for privacy instead of what they really were. The small things started stacking up after that. She'd canceled dinner plans an hour before with no real explanation. Something came up, she'd text. I'm so sorry. Rain check. Everything okay? I'd ask. Yeah, just family stuff. I'll explain later. She never explained later. I'd let it go because the next time I saw her, she'd be so warm, so present, so clearly happy to see me, that the excuse dissolved on its own. Then there was the name. We were at a restaurant in October when her phone lit up on the table. A name, no photo. Marcus. She grabbed it fast, silenced it, and shoved it in her purse. Who's Marcus? I asked, half joking. Old friend, she said, not looking up from the menu. We used to run in the same circles. He still doesn't get that I've moved on with my life. Moved on from what? That whole world, she said, waving her hand like she was brushing away smoke. Rich parties, fake people, everyone performing for everyone else. It's exhausting. That's part of why I liked you from the start. Remember? You're not part of any of that. Sounds like he wants you back. She laughed, but it came out tighter than usual. Marcus doesn't want anything from me anymore. Trust me. I believed her because I wanted to, because believing her was easier than pulling the thread and seeing what unraveled. Mia called me 2 days later. How's the perfect girlfriend? She asked, half teasing. She's amazing, Mia. I'm serious. I think I might ask her to move in soon. That fast? It doesn't feel fast. It feels right. There was a pause on the line. Just, has she told you anything real about her past? Like actual stories, not just vibes. She told me about her family, her job. What more do you want? I don't know, Mia said. It's probably nothing. I just get a feeling sometimes. Like she's holding a door shut behind her. You're overthinking it. Maybe, she said. I hope I am. I hung up and looked at the photo Claire had sent me an hour earlier. The two of us at the restaurant, her head tilted against mine, both of us laughing at something I couldn't even remember anymore. She looked happy. I looked happier than I'd been in years. I told myself that was the only thing that mattered. I was wrong. But I wouldn't understand how wrong until the night I picked up her phone to hand it to her, and everything I believed about us fell apart in the time it took to read one message thread. It was a Tuesday. I remember that because Tuesdays were our takeout nights, the one evening we never let work interrupt. Claire was in the shower when her phone buzzed on my kitchen counter. Over and over. Like someone was calling twice in a row. I picked it up to bring it to her. That's all I meant to do. The screen was already lit up with a message preview, and the name at the top stopped me cold. Marcus. Not old friend Marcus. The contact photo showed the two of them together, her head on his shoulder, both of them dressed for some black tie event I'd never seen her wear. I told myself not to look. I looked anyway. Asterisk Marcus. 6 months is almost up. Admit it, you're losing this one. He still doesn't know you're engaged. Asterisk. Claire. I told you to stop texting me about this. Asterisk Marcus. So it's true then. You actually fell for the delivery guy. Asterisk. Asterisk Claire, he's not a delivery guy, Marcus. And I'm not losing anything. Asterisk. Asterisk Marcus. $10,000 says you tell him the truth before the wedding. Deal's a deal, babe. Asterisk. My hands were shaking by the time I set the phone down. I heard the shower shut off. I didn't move. I just stood there in my own kitchen, staring at a wall, waiting for her to walk out and explain a version of this that made sense. She came out in my robe, toweling her hair, smiling like it was any other Tuesday. Hey, did my phone go off? I thought I heard. She stopped when she saw my face. Ethan? Who's Marcus? The towel slid from her hands. What did you see? I saw a bet, Claire. $10,000. Something about a wedding. My voice came out flat, like it belonged to someone else. Are you engaged? She didn't answer right away, and that silence told me everything her words hadn't yet. Ethan, let me explain. Are you engaged? Yes. The word came out small, like it cost her something to say it. To Marcus. For 8 months. I felt the floor tilt under me even though I hadn't moved. 8 months. So this whole time. It's not what it sounds like. Then tell me what it sounds like, Claire. Because right now it sounds like your fiancé bet you money that you couldn't make some random guy fall in love with you. She flinched like I'd hit her. It started as a bet. Marcus said I only dated men who already worshipped me before I even tried. He said I couldn't do it the normal way. Meet someone, make them fall for me without money or status. I said I could. So you picked me. I picked you at a party where I didn't know a single thing about you, she said, tears starting now. But Ethan, somewhere in the last 3 months, it stopped being about the bet. I swear to you it stopped. When? I asked. When exactly did lying to me stop being a game? I don't know exactly. It just did. That's not an answer. It's the truth. Do you think I wanted to feel like this? Do you think I planned on falling for you? I think you planned on winning $10,000, I said. Everything else is just the story you're telling yourself so you can sleep at night. That's not fair. None of this is fair, Claire. My voice finally cracked, and I hated that it did. You let me talk about moving in together. You met my mother. My sister asked me if you were the one, and I said yes. I said yes because I actually believed you. I believe in us too. That's what I'm trying to tell you. There is no us. I said it quiet, which somehow felt worse than yelling. There was never an us. There was a bet, and I was the prize. Please, she said, reaching for my arm. Just let me explain everything. From the start, please. I stepped back before she could touch me. I already know the start. You knew exactly what you were doing the night we met at Sam's party. Every question you asked me, every story I told you, you were just collecting material. It wasn't like that. Then what was it like? Claire? Tell me one honest thing. She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. That silence was the only honest answer she had left. I grabbed my keys off the counter. My hands weren't shaking anymore. I'd gone past that, into something colder and quieter. Ethan, please don't leave like this. I'm not leaving like anything, I said. I'm just leaving. I walked out of my own apartment because I couldn't stand to be in it with her one more second. I didn't slam the door. I didn't say another word. I just walked down 3 flights of stairs, out into the cold September air, and stood on the sidewalk not knowing where to go, only knowing I couldn't go back up. Behind me, I heard my phone buzzing in my pocket. Claire calling. I let it ring. I had 6 months of memories, and every single one of them now felt like evidence in a trial I never knew I was part of. I didn't answer Claire's calls after that night. I didn't answer much of anything. For a week, my apartment felt like a courtroom, every corner holding a piece of evidence. The mug she always used, the hoodie of mine she never gave back, the takeout menu still stuck to my fridge from our last normal Tuesday. Sam showed up on day 4, using the spare key I'd given him 2 years ago and forgotten about. "You look like garbage," he said, standing in my doorway. "Thanks. When's the last time you ate something that wasn't cereal?" "I don't know. Doesn't matter." He sat down across from me, arms on his knees, the way he does when he's about to say something serious. "I talked to a guy who knows Marcus Reyes. Rich family, real estate money. You want me to get you his address?" "Why would I want that?" "So you can show up and tell him exactly what he did. Let him know you're not just some name in a bet he won." "He didn't win," I said. "There was nothing to win. It was never real to begin with. So you're just going to let it go? After what they did to you?" "I'm not looking for a fight, Sam. I'm just trying to remember how to feel normal again." "That's not you," he said. "You don't just let things go." "Maybe I don't want to be the guy who chases down his ex's fiancé to prove a point. Maybe I just want to disappear for a while." He didn't like that answer, but he didn't push it either. He just squeezed my shoulder on his way out and told me to call my mom back. I hadn't. Grace had left 4 voicemails by then. "Ethan, honey, call me back. Mia says you're not answering her either. I'm getting worried." I finally called her on day 6, mostly to stop the guilt from eating me alive on top of everything else. "I'm fine, Mom." "You don't sound fine. Mia said Claire's been trying to reach you and you won't say why. She lied to me about something big. That's all I want to say right now." "Okay," my mom said gently. "You don't have to tell me everything today. Just eat something, please, and call your sister. She's scared for you." Mia called an hour later. "I knew something was off," she said. "I told you, remember? The exes thing, the weird vibe. You were right. I don't want to talk about the details yet." "Okay, I'm not calling to say I told you so. I'm calling because you're not answering anyone, and that scares me. I just need space, Mia." "Space is fine. Disappearing isn't." I didn't tell her that disappearing sounded exactly like what I wanted. 2 months before all this happened, my company had offered me a transfer overseas. A real position, more responsibility, a fresh city. I turned it down without much thought. I liked my routine. I liked being close to my family. I liked the life I had because I thought it included Claire. Now the life I had felt like a stranger's apartment. I opened my laptop on day 9 and found the old email from HR still sitting in my inbox. "Position still open if interested. Let us know by end of month." I stared at it for a long time. I thought about Sam telling me to confront Marcus. I thought about the version of myself that would drive across town and demand answers, make a scene, get some kind of closure through anger. That wasn't going to fix anything. Anger wasn't going to undo 8 months of being someone's bet. I hit reply. I'd like to accept the transfer, if the offer still stands. I can be ready to move within 2 weeks. 2 weeks later, I stood in my empty apartment with 1 suitcase and 2 boxes shipped ahead of me. Sam helped me carry the last bag to the car. "You sure about this?" he asked. "No," I said honestly, "but staying feels worse." Mia hugged me at the airport so tight I almost couldn't breathe. My mom cried, which made me cry, which I hadn't let myself do since the night I found that message thread. "Call me when you land," she said. "Every time. I mean it." "I will, Mom." I walked through security without looking back, because looking back felt like giving Claire one more piece of me I didn't have left to give. At the gate, I turned my phone off completely. No calls, no texts, no chance for one more excuse to reach me. I boarded the plane as Ethan Cole, the guy who got played. Somewhere over the ocean, I was hoping I'd land as somebody new. The city I landed in didn't know Ethan Cole, the guy who got played. Nobody here had watched me fall for a lie. That anonymity felt like the first real breath I'd taken in weeks. My new boss, Mr. Whitfield, called me into his office on my second day. "Cole," he said, not looking up from a folder. "Your file says you've been doing shipment tracking for 3 years, and nobody's given you anything bigger." "I never really asked for anything bigger." "Why not?" "I don't know. Guess I liked knowing what to expect." He looked up at that, studying me for a second. Predictable work for a man running from something unpredictable. That about right. I didn't answer, but I think my face did. "Doesn't matter," he said. sliding a new folder across the desk. I'm putting you on the Hendricks account. Full oversight, client contact, the works. You'll either sink or you won't. Why me? Because you show up early, you don't make excuses, and you listen more than you talk. That's rarer than you'd think. He stood, ending the conversation. Don't make me regret it. I didn't. I threw myself into that account like it was the only solid ground left under me, because in a way it was. Work didn't lie. Numbers didn't have hidden fiancés. A shipment either arrived or it didn't. I met Naomi Torres 3 weeks in the break room, both of us reaching for the same pot of coffee. You're the new transfer everyone's talking about, she said. Didn't know I was interesting enough to talk about. Whitfield gave you the Hendricks account in your first month. People talk. She poured her cup, studying me. You don't smile much. Guess I've got a lot on my mind. Bad breakup. I almost laughed at how simple that sounded. Something like that. Well, for what it's worth, new guy, you seem all right to me. And I don't say that about many people. Naomi became the first person in that city who knew me only as I was now, not as someone's punchline. We started grabbing lunch, then dinner sometimes after long weeks. She asked about my life back home eventually, carefully, the way people do when they can tell there's a wound underneath the question. You don't have to tell me, she said one night. I'm not trying to dig. It's not that I don't trust you, I said. It's that I don't know how to say it without sounding pathetic. Try me. Someone I loved wasn't who I thought she was. That's the short version. That's enough for now, Naomi said. You don't owe me the long version until you're ready. Nobody had ever given me that kind of patience before. I didn't know what to do with it except be grateful. At night, in my new apartment that still smelled like fresh paint, I started writing letters to Claire. Not to send, I made that rule the first time and never broke it. Just to get the words out of my chest before they rotted there. Asterisk Claire. I keep trying to figure out which parts were real. The way you laughed at my terrible jokes. The way you cried at my dad's picture like you actually understood what I lost. Was any of it real, or was I just good material for a bet? Asterisk. I never mailed a single one. I kept them in a drawer. A paper trail of a man slowly talking himself back into being whole. Back home, I later learned, the cracks were already spreading in ways I didn't witness firsthand. Priya, Claire's closest friend, had known about the bet from the start. Had even laughed about it once, before she understood what it would cost someone. You knew, Sam asked her once, having tracked her down out of his own anger on my behalf. I thought it was a joke between them, Priya said. Rich people bet on stupid things all the time. I didn't think Claire would actually fall for the guy. I definitely didn't think she'd break him. He's not broken, Sam said. He's just gone. That's worse in a way, Priya admitted. Marcus keeps acting like none of it matters, like Ethan was just a name in a story. But he was a real person. I didn't sign up to watch a real person get hurt like that. She started pulling away from both of them after that. Fewer group dinners, shorter replies to Claire's texts, more silence when Marcus made jokes about the bet that almost cost him 10 grand. Guilt has a way of doing that, of turning a friend into someone circling the exit. I didn't know any of that yet. 9,000 miles away, all I knew was the sound of Naomi laughing at something dumb I said over dinner, and Mr. Whitfield telling me my numbers on the Hendricks account were the best he'd seen from a new hire in years, and a drawer full of unsent letters slowly becoming less about her and more about me. For the first time since that Tuesday in my kitchen, I felt like a man building something instead of a man running from it. I didn't know it yet, but while I was building a new life 9,000 miles away, the one I'd left behind was starting to come apart at the seams. I only pieced it together later, mostly through Sam, who called me more often once I finally turned my phone back on for good. You're not going to believe what's happening with Marcus's business, Sam said one night, his voice tinny over the video call. Why would I care what happens to Marcus's business? Because his partner's cutting him out. Guy named David Cho. Word is he's been quietly buying up shares in their real estate deals, using Marcus's own paranoia against him. What paranoia? Apparently Marcus can't stop obsessing over the fact that Claire's been distant since everything with you blew up. He's convinced she's still hung up on you. David's been feeding that fire, telling Marcus to focus on the wedding, on appearances, while quietly taking control of everything behind his back. I sat with that for a second, feeling nothing close to satisfaction, just a strange, distant curiosity, like hearing about a stranger's problems. That's not my life anymore, Sam. I know. I just thought you'd want to know Karma's got a long memory. I later learned. Mostly from Priya, who'd started talking to Sam more since pulling away from Claire. Exactly how bad it had gotten. Richard Reyes, Marcus's father, had never let up on the wedding. "You will not embarrass this family," Richard reportedly told Marcus. "According to Priya, whatever's going on between you and Claire, fix it quietly. The Whitmore merger depends on us looking like the golden couple at that wedding. Do you understand me?" "I understand," Marcus said. "Do you? Because David tells me you've been distracted, losing focus on the deals that actually matter." "David doesn't know what he's talking about. David's the one keeping our numbers steady, while you're busy chasing a woman who clearly doesn't want to be chased." That last part apparently landed hard, because 2 days later, Marcus signed off on a restructuring agreement without reading the fine print. The same agreement that quietly handed David Cho controlling interest in 3 of their joint properties. Claire, meanwhile, was unraveling in her own way. She reached out to Sam directly more than once. "I just need to know he's okay," she told him, according to what Sam relayed to me. "I'm not asking for anything else." "He's fine," Sam said. "He's better than fine, actually. He's building something real for once. Somewhere you can't reach. Please, Sam. I made a mistake, but I never stopped. You don't get to explain that to me. You had 8 months to tell him the truth and you didn't. I'm not giving you his number, his address, or anything else. Let him go." She stopped asking after that, at least for a while. I knew none of this in real time. What I knew in that same stretch of weeks was the sound of Mr. Whitfield calling me into his office again. "Cole, sit down." He slid a paper across the desk. "Hendrick's account closed out 12% above projection. Corporate wants to know why one of our newest transfers is outperforming people who've been here 5 years. I just did the work. Modest. I like that." He tapped the paper. "Regional coordinator position opened up. It's yours if you want it. More responsibility, better pay, and it means people actually answer to you for once." "I want it," I said, without hesitating this time. "Good. Don't make me regret it twice." That night I called Naomi. "I got the promotion," I said. "Ethan, that's incredible." I could hear her smiling through the phone. "We're celebrating. Tonight. No arguments." We went to a small Italian place near the harbor, string lights over the patio, the kind of place I never would have picked for myself a year ago because I never let myself want anything nice. "To the guy who showed up quiet and ended up running the place," Naomi said, raising her glass. "To the coffee I stole from you the first week," I said. "Best decision I ever made." She laughed. "And it was easy, uncomplicated, nothing hiding underneath it. You've changed since you got here. Even in the few months I've known you. Good different or bad different? Good. You used to flinch every time your phone buzzed. You don't do that anymore." I hadn't noticed that about myself, but she was right. Somewhere in the last few months, I'd stopped bracing for bad news every time a name lit up my screen. "I think I finally feel like myself again," I said. "Or maybe a better version of myself. I'm not sure which." "Does it matter?" Naomi asked. "No," I said, and I meant it. "I don't think it does." Across the ocean, a wedding was falling apart under the weight of lies. A business was being quietly stolen out from under a man who never saw it coming, and a woman was learning that guilt doesn't stay buried just because you stop looking at it. I was learning something different. That walking away hadn't broken me. It had finally set me free. I found out most of this after the fact, pieced together from Sam's calls and, eventually, Claire's own words. But this is how it happened, as best as I can tell it. Olivia Grant had been digging into Richard Reyes's company for months, chasing a story about the Whitmore merger and whispers of shady dealings. She wasn't looking for a scandal about a bet. She found one anyway. "I need you to be straight with me," Olivia told Priya. meeting her at a coffee shop 2 towns over from where anyone would recognize either of them. I've heard rumors about Marcus Reyes making some kind of wager involving his fiancé. Is there any truth to that? Priya sat with her hands wrapped around her cup for a long time before answering. If I tell you, it ruins people. Real people, not just Marcus. If it's true, people already got ruined, Olivia said. You're just deciding whether the truth comes out or stays buried. There's a guy, Priya finally said. Ethan. He never did anything wrong. He fell in love with someone he thought was real, and it cost him everything, his life back home, basically. He left the country because of it. Tell me everything, Olivia said. Around the same time, David Cho decided the bet was useful for something other than gossip. You signed away 3 properties without reading the fine print, David told Marcus, according to what Priya later heard secondhand. And there's a journalist sniffing around asking about a bet you made with your fiancé. I could make that story disappear. Or I could make sure it's the first thing everyone reads next week. Are you threatening me? I'm reminding you who actually runs things now, David said. Sign the second agreement, and maybe I forget I ever heard the word bet. Marcus didn't sign fast enough. Or maybe David never intended to keep quiet either way. Either way, the story broke. Restaurant heir bet fiancé could make stranger fall in love, then lied to him for months. Olivia's article didn't hold back. It laid out the bet, the $10,000, the 8 months Claire spent engaged to Marcus while pretending to fall for a stranger who had no idea he was a pawn in someone else's game. It named Richard Reyes's pressure campaign to protect appearances for the merger. It painted Marcus exactly as he was, a man who saw people, including his own fiancée, as things to control and win. Richard's business partners pulled out of the Whitmore merger within a week. The wedding invitations, already sent, sat unanswered in mailboxes while people quietly decided which side to believe. Claire called off the engagement herself before Marcus could. You made me the villain of a story you started, she reportedly told him. I'm done being anyone's bet. I heard all of this from Sam weeks after it happened, because I'd been too deep in my new life to check the kind of gossip sites that would have covered it. I should have told you sooner, Sam said, his voice careful over the phone. I didn't want to drag you back into it if you didn't need to be. How bad was it? Public. Ugly. Marcus's family basically imploded. Claire broke off the wedding. She's not doing great, from what I hear. I felt something complicated hearing that. Not joy, not quite relief either. Just a strange stillness, like watching weather happen somewhere far away. Does it change anything? Sam asked. Knowing all this? I don't know yet, I said honestly. 3 days later, an email showed up in my inbox. Subject line. I don't expect you to read this, but I needed to write it. I almost deleted it. I opened it instead. Ethan, *, I'm not writing this to ask you to forgive me, or to come back, or to tell me it's okay. I know it's not okay. I just needed you to hear the truth from me instead of a stranger's article. *, everything about how we started was a lie. But somewhere in those months, loving you stopped being part of the bet and became the only honest thing in my life. I know that doesn't undo what I did. I know it became real, doesn't erase 8 months of letting you build a future with someone who was hiding the truth the whole time. *, I lost the wedding. I lost Marcus's family's respect, my friends, most of my reputation. I'm not telling you that so you'll feel sorry for me. I'm telling you because I finally understand, a little late, what it feels like to lose something because of a lie you can't take back. *, I don't need you to write back. I don't need anything from you at all. I just needed to say I'm sorry, and mean it completely, one time without any bet or audience behind it. *, Claire. I read it twice. Then I closed my laptop and sat in the quiet of my apartment for a long time, letting the version of me who used to love her finally, fully exhale. I didn't feel triumphant. I didn't feel like celebrating her downfall the way Sam clearly wanted me to. I just felt like a man standing at the very end of a chapter, finally ready to close the book. Naomi was reading on the couch when I finally opened my laptop back up that same night. Claire's email still sitting there, waiting for a decision I hadn't made yet. "You've been staring at that screen for 10 minutes, Naomi said, not looking up from her book. "You don't have to talk about it if you're not ready." "It's the email," I said. "From Claire." She set the book down then. "Are you going to write back?" "I don't know. Part of me feels like I shouldn't owe her anything. Not even a reply." "You don't," Naomi said. "But that's not really the question, is it? The question is what you need, not what she deserves." I sat with that for a while. "What do you think I need?" "I can't answer that for you," she said. "But for what it's worth, you've spent 2 years building something good here. I don't think you did that for her. I think you did it for you. Maybe this is the same thing." She was right, though it took me a minute to admit it out loud. I keep thinking if I forgive her, it means what she did was okay. "Forgiving someone doesn't mean it was okay," Naomi said. "It just means you stop carrying it around like it still is." I thought about the drawer full of unsent letters back in my old apartment overseas. 3 years of words I'd written and never mailed, each one a little lighter than the last. I thought about Mr. Whitfield telling me I'd sink or swim, and how I'd chosen to swim. I thought about Sam's voice on the phone, careful and worried, asking if any of it changed things. I opened a blank reply. "Claire, *, I read your email. I believe you that some of it became real. I also believe the first version of us was built on something I never agreed to be part of. Both things are true, and I've had to make peace with that. *, I'm not writing back because I want you in my life again. I'm writing back because I don't want to carry this anymore, and the only way I know how to put it down is to say it plainly. I forgive you, not for your sake, for mine. *, I hope you find whatever honest life comes next. I hope it's harder than the one you had, in the way that makes you better, not in the way that breaks you. *, I'm not the same guy who left that night. I'm glad about that. I hope someday you get to say the same about yourself. *, Ethan. I read it twice, then hit send before I could talk myself out of it. After that, I opened the folder on my phone where I'd kept every message thread with her. 3 years old now, untouched, a museum exhibit of a version of my life I didn't live in anymore. I scrolled through them one last time, not to relive anything, just to say goodbye properly. Then I deleted them. All of them. No backup, no second copy sitting somewhere waiting to ambush me on a bad night. "Feel any different?" Naomi asked, watching me set the phone down. "Lighter," I said. "Like I finally put something down I didn't realize I was still carrying." She smiled and didn't say anything else. She didn't need to. 3 years later, I still live in that same city, though I've moved twice since then, once for a bigger apartment, once because Naomi and I decided a bigger apartment worked better shared than separate. Mr. Whitfield retired last spring and told me, in his usual blunt way, that I was the best hire he ever gave a chance to. I run the regional office now. I still show up early. I still don't make excuses. Sam visits every summer. Mia's planning her wedding for next year, and she's already asked me to walk her down the aisle since our dad can't. My mom video calls every Sunday, and every single time, she tells me how proud she is, like she needs to say it fresh each week in case I forgot since the last one. I heard secondhand through Priya, who still talks to Sam now and then, that Claire moved to a smaller city a year after everything fell apart. No fiancé, no family name to hide behind, just a job and an apartment and, from what Priya says, a version of honesty she never used to have room for. She talks about it sometimes, Priya told Sam. Not with anyone specific, just out loud to herself, I think, about how she used to think love was something you won. She said she finally understands it's something you earn, quietly, every day, or you don't get to keep it. I don't know if that's true. I only have it secondhand, filtered through people who weren't there. But I hope it is. I hope she found something real on the other side of all that wreckage, the way I did. Some nights, Naomi asks me if I ever regret leaving the way I did. No goodbye, no confrontation, just a plane ticket and a phone turned off. No, I always tell her. Running away implies I was scared of something chasing me. I wasn't running from anything. Then what was it? I was choosing something, I say. There's a difference. Because that's the truth I finally understand. sitting here in a life I built with my own two hands, 9,000 miles from where it all started. I was never really left behind that night in my kitchen. I just chose to leave.